Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you all had a happy Easter this past Sunday. The family and I, we were down at the campground this weekend, and the weather was beautiful. But they're calling for some rain today, so I'm trying to get as much done as I can before the rain rolls in. If you watched last week's shorts video, you see that we finished up row 3 here. My goal was to get this row done before Easter, so we met that goal. So we're getting ready to start on the last empty row here, and I'll show you what's in store today so we can get moving with that, so stick around. All right, so this is the original row that I started on last year, the very first row of firewood that I ever made, and it's the last row now after 4 more rows have grown in this yard. As you can see, I don't have any of the dividers up yet for this row because last year I was just still doing the crisscross log cabin style bookends to support the rows. But as you know, I've moved to the pallet dividers, and so we've got to get those up at some point. But this laying down here in the back of this row, I have kind of been just not worrying about it because it was out of the way, and it's mostly cherry. There's a cedar log in there and maybe a couple other things, but it's mostly cherry laying here, and this has been here for a good while. But now it's in the way because we're going to start on this last row, and it's a good time to get that bucked up because we'll stack it right here. So that's the plan for today, to fire up some saws, do some cutting, get some of this bucked up, and clear the way for this last row to get started. So that's what we're going to do. If we have time and the rain holds out, we've got some stone up on the hill that we'll bring down here and try to get some stone in the floor of the pallet shed, because as you can see, the skid loader is sinking in the mud every time it rains. So we've got to get a good solid base in there, and we'll get that done too. So a little update real quick on the pallet shed while I've got you here. I wasn't planning on doing this as part of the video, but I'll go ahead and tell you about it. Let me set you up on the tripod. But my plan now, after some suggestions from you all, is I'm going to drive some T-bar stakes in the ground. I got some 6-foot metal stakes. I'm going to bolt this 4x4 to the side of the pallet shed here, drive that stake in the ground, and then bolt the stake to the 4x4. And that'll give me a lot more stability on the front side here. I'm going to do that on both front corners. That'll hold it to the ground and give it some more stability on the front. As you can see, I don't have the sides on it yet. We've still got plywood to put on, but it's under roof, so it's out of the weather for the most part. So I've kind of set that project aside while I was finishing up on row 3. So let me get the saws warmed up, we'll get some logs marked up and do some bucking. So we've got quite the variety that we've come across so far in this load. As we know, most of this load is the cherry. I just came across some mulberry, a bright yellow color. As it dries out, it gets like a dark orange, almost brown color. And then cedar. Cedar's pretty good looking wood when you cut it. It smells really good, but I think it's the very first time that I've had cedar in the wood yard here. It's not good for heat. I guess it's probably okay for campfire wood, but it does smell good. And we've got a couple more cedar logs down in there. So we'll cut on them, we'll split them up, and we'll mix them in with some bundles. I might even try to burn some of it once it dries out and see what I think of it. Tell me what you think of cedar. Let's get back to cutting. All right, so that's where that load was, and that's where it is now. Had a little bit of mulberry. This is all cherry here. Like I said, the load was mostly cherry, and a little bit of cedar laying over there. And then this is all just a junk, off-cut, knotty, gnarly pieces that I'll bust up a little later. But all the good stuff is bucked up now. Probably over 1/3 of a quart of cherry there. And we've made some room now. It's time to start cutting grass, so this has to get opened up. We got to get dividers up and get this next row going. So I just looked at the radar, and the rain is only about 10 or 15 minutes away. So I don't think we're going to get the skid loader out and run up on the hill to get the stone and carry it back down, because the rain will certainly be here before I can get that done. So I'm just going to walk you up here. I told you about finishing this row over here with all that ash last week. But you saw all the rounds that I had busted up to finish this row, ready to split. And I had those 2 big stacks up front here. And I'll show you where they were and what's left. So this is where one of the big stacks was, right here, where you see the grass is all matted down there. That's all done. And then the great big stack of ash over here that I had bucked up, I've knocked about half of that out. So there's still probably close to a quart of ash there ready to be split. So we got a good jump here on the last row. And other than today, the rest of the week, the weather looks like it's going to be pretty good. So I'll be able to work over here in the evenings and hopefully get a good jump on this last row. My theory is that by the time I get this last row filled up, we should be selling wood back at the beginning, and then I can refill that. I think 4 rows is probably about what I'm able to, the capacity that I'm able to produce with what I got going on and the amount of time that I have to devote to it. So about 45 quart a year, I think is about what I can do. 45 full cord. So if we can get row 4 done here, let's set a goal for row 4. What do you think, by the end of June? I think we can definitely do it by the end of June. So that'll give that row, now some of that stuff is green, so it won't be ready for this fall, but it'll be stacked and ready for fall of 2023. So I think that's going to do it for today. We got that load busted up. The rain's coming in, so I'm going to wrap it up. I hope you all have a great week, and please like and subscribe. Share these videos with your friends, and we'll talk to you next week. Have a great week, everybody.